Welcome to the weekend vid. It's coming out late because I did come in late last night after my annual camping trip with all my friends. So that is why. But starting with the indexes, you're going to see SPY opening an inside week to start it off, closer to neither two up or two down. So we'll see. Either side of this range can get our attention, but we want to take last week's highs or lows out. To the downside, we'd have more pivots. So we'll be taking note of that, but no signals. Dow Jones, inside week actionable signal for next week, which is going to be coming out shortly. Below this, 441.61, or above this, 447.87 gets our attention. So we'll be watching that. And you always want to mark out your known pivots, which is your mother bar, your inside bar. If we go to the day, you'll see no daily signal, but again, more pivots, at least clustered pivots to the downside. Qs also going to be opening inside week with the SPY, and we will see it did take last week's highs come back in. So we'll see if that goes 2-2 down or not to take this out, or if we just stay an inside bar. And IWM, same thing. You'll see it takes last week's highs, then closes back into the range. So we'll see if we get that 2-2 reversal down or not, or we go inside bar. So we'll see most things, a little bit weaker, at least looking like they could be weaker to start the week. Besides the SPY, which is nowhere near last week's lows, but has the daily pivot machine gun. That being said, let's take a look at the sectors. Looking at the technologies, we're going to see a similar look to the weekly as, most other things with a momentum shooter day. So again, just looking a little weaker to start off the week there. Semis, not so much. Closed 2 up last week. However, if the whole market goes 2 down today on the dailies, these could turn into 2-2 day down, and so get some profit taking kicking in. We're nowhere near monthly reversals and stuff on this, so we're going to expect it to be profit taking. Financials already reversed last week, so these guys got this big outside week here. Anytime we're below 52.23, that turns into a bit of an issue for the financials. So we'll see what they want to do this week, but just be mindful of this scenario 3, which is a broadening formation. If we go to healthcares, they also did reverse last week, although they didn't go anywhere. You're going to see could become RevStrat month back down. No signals or anything to talk about yet here. Utilities, a little bit stronger last week. You'll see the 3 to the upside. So if you can get out of this to the upside this week, could see all-time highs, and then we'll have to see if they continue to confirm or not. There's no signals. And Staples did reverse last week, although they have a slight hammer on the day. RevStrat pivot machine gun, which could kick in. For now, they're opening as a 1. Materials, we're still going up as last week. We will see some short-term exhaustion on the weekly here, so we'll be aware of that. These are a little closer to the 2-2-2 back to the upside. It tells us gold, which did firm up last week, inside week and up. We'll see if that follows through. Tells us silver, which was going last week. And if you recall, for those that are in the Stat Trading Discord, we mentioned this 3-2-2 week, and then it went 2-2, and then it went continuation. They're still going. We've been calling for silver all-time highs for a good while now, since this inside quarter, so we'll see if they're still going up there. 48.18, they are, right? Yearly, no reversals, still good. If we go to real estates could have the RevStrat week to the downside, which gives us a little bit of interest there, although I'm not trading that very often myself. Let's get this up. On the real estates, they're closer to 2-2 day up, so they're closer to firming up with some of those staples. And industrials, just closer to open inside week. Transports, a little bit of an inside day. You do have UPS inside week after higher highs. This could be a really good one for the open of the week here. If we go to FedEx, also inside week after going into recent highs on the weekly. We can add that there. Let's go and take a look at the scans. And if we refresh, it should bring us to today's data and make sure that we are connected. There it is. Let us take a look. So Lowe's and HD will both be an inside week after making some recent highs. It's for home builders. CEG will be inside week in the utilities. Already mentioned FedEx. TSM will be inside day, inside week. For the domino trade and the technologies. We will see waste management inside week at the bottom of the range with a hammer day into pivot machine gun. That's a good one, especially if we see utilities firm up to start off the week. That tends to move with the utilities. Philip Morris is inside day, inside week, just start the week. Let me sort by ATR to see what the high flyers are doing. Enphase is an inside week with FSLR inside week in the energies. FSLR could be a good one. 212 reversal all the way back down here. Should be a 16% move. ANF is interesting. You got inside week with the inside month up in force. However, we'll have to see. It's opening really inside. Let's see. American Semiconductors is inside week right at all-time highs up in here. So if you recall, this nice big broad information here. You'll see from the monthly hammer. Boom, all the way up, and then inside week at the top. So they're going to take some profit here would be the question. They have a 2-2 day to trigger all that as well. MGNI is going to look very similar to American Semis with your top of the round information plus inside bar signal. On, except it's a motherboard problem. You got pivot machine gun down, but that's it. That covers most of the inside weeks, at least ones that are higher volatility. There's a few like Yeti in here, which could become interesting with the 2-1-2 reversal if they kick in. No daily signals here though. If we go 2 down in green or 2 up in red, let's see what the 3-2-2s are looking like. And wow, there's a lot of 3-2-2s on the week setting up. Let's see. And I actually did the scanning correctly, so give me one sec. There it is. So DE, John Deere. It is 3-2 up red week, which would break the month. You got shooter on a 2-day chart in DE. That would re-break the month if that does kick into the downside. Tells you cat, which does not look the same at all. ZTS, which I have not heard of. I'm not sure what they do. Has the 3-2-2 week to trigger the month down or re-break the month down. That's really about it. So we don't have as many as we had hoped. Let's see if we have any 1-2-2s that are setting up here besides real estates. VNQ in the real estates looks kind of similar to XLRE. Yang, meh. Billy, let's see. Does have the rev strat if that kicks into the downside. And that's really about it. There's not much rev strat setting up here either. Let's just see straight up 2-2 reversal setting up this week. So there's a lot of, 2 open reds at the top of the ranges after like making all-time highs or at least getting close. Like you can see Shaq, for example. A lot of things look like this, which, can be good, can be bad. We might get, decent selling this week because of that. But if you're trying to time the top of the trend, say we're going to, market crash, everything's coming in, probably not going to be the case. We'll see. But we do see, about 100 2 up and just straight 2 up in red names. So you got Apple. There's a 2 up in red there. And that could definitely kick things back to the downside, like so. No additional signals. If we go to Oracle, you'll see 2 up in red, but is that anywhere near reversal month or anything like that? No. So you can short it, but I'm just not as interested, right? D-Dog, that's a little bit better, right? We like the long red and green bars. Plus that pivot machine gun. So if that kicks in, you get some slight higher highs, triangle out, and then take out a ton of these guys. That would be something I want to know about this morning. And I'm going to try and keep this short enough where once it's posted, everyone gets to watch it. So I quickly go through the rest of these as fast as I possibly can. I think we've kind of beat the horse here on the 2 up in red. There's a few kind of nobodies or lower vol names, but not what I'm interested in. So let's go and take a look at 3-1. If there's anything specific. American Tower in the real estates could become 3-1-2 down, pivot machine gun down week, which would rev strat the month. And EE in the In the your utilities, you'll see 3-1 week, which could trigger the month 2 up, could trigger the reversal quarter. Still inside year. That's about it. Let's see, shooters. Carvana shooter. We go to Meta. Momentum shooter. App shooter, which could trigger the month down in app. So looks a little bit worse here. If we go to daily, no daily signal. If we go to Burlington, Coat Factories, shooter week, could trigger maybe an outside month, but a little bit conflicted. However, not the worst looking chart for the short side. Dash. Momentum shooter, I'm not interested. NXPI. In the chips, a little bit of shooter. Up to you if you want to trade that, but not too much there, like Carvana. If we go to hammers. Somehow Meta also shows up on the hammer list. That's, oh, my bad. Typed it in wrong. There's literally nothing on the hammers. FNGA. Not sure. PWR. Not sure what they do. TT. Industrials. Not sure what they do. But that is your list. So going into the new week, if you're skipping to the end, this is what you got for the weekend vid. Most sectors, closer to 2's down. A lot of things that will open inside a week as well. So we can, careful. As far as things that we're watching, XLE still strong. If we go to inside weeks, you got UPS and FedEx setting up to break right off the weekend vid right at the beginning of the week. And then Lowe's and Home Depot will be inside simultaneously. And then Waste Management, which is like your utilities. And then TSM, which is in your chips. Philip Morris, which is in your staples. Which you want to add here. Daily PMG, RevStrat to start the week. Question mark on the staples. And then high ATR inside weeks, you got some of your solars. AMSC at the top of the range. And then 2 up in red. DE. The 2-day shooter. This is on a weekly. Then Apple 2 up in red week. D-Dog 2 up in red with a PMG, and it's bright red, so it's more interesting to me. Then 3-1, you got NEE in the utilities, and you got AMT in your real estates, which will add up in here. Potential weekly 1 to 2 up, 2 down. So in the real estates, AMT will be in there, and we'll make sure mention that. Then shooter Carvana. So that's it for your weekend vid. Adios. Have a good rest of your week and a good Monday trading day.